Hello and a very warm welcome to this week's episode of Off the Leash. We're up to episode number 24, brought to you by the Racing Post in association, of course, with Premier Greyhound Racing. And there is some Premier Greyhound Racing this week, I can assure you of that. 4 big competitions kicking off, semi-finals of the Champion Hurdle as well. We're in open class company as ever. The Racing Post's open correspondent Tony Bullen joins us. Tony, how's your form?
Yeah, not too bad. A little bit up and down. As take the rough with the smooth, really, Dave. But it is just fast and furious now, the racing, and really are getting into the business end of the year.
We are indeed. Now, I'll be firing loads of questions at you throughout the show. Probably the most important one, though, is it coming home?
Well, I mean, it didn't look like it from the very first game, to be truthful with you. But as I say, it's just like, keep getting through. All of a sudden, you're in the semi-finals. Draws worked out well for us, and I just want to see them play football. That's the thing. Like Spain have been the team of the tournament, Dave.
Yeah, indeed. So we'll look forward to that. On Sunday night, maybe we'll get through to the final and you can enjoy the England game and the semi-finals of the Ladbrokes Champion Hurdle side by side. But there's loads more top-class action before that this week. Now, do remember to like, comment and subscribe. We're going to be chatting ante-post throughout the show. So put your comments below who you're backing for the 4 big competitions that we're going to preview. Previous successes you've had, how you've been getting on following the tips. I think you'll find it was me that pulled the show through last week. Tony's double faltered, but Queen Dusty thankfully did the job in the naps, and we'll get those at the back end of the show. What have we got for you then? Well, Thursday night we head to Newcastle. It'll be sort of half ladies' night with first round heats of the Arena Racing Company Angel of the North, £7,500 up for grabs there. And the Time Northern Flat, £12,500 featuring Wiki Ned. So very much looking forward to that. And then we move on to Saturday night. And the card at Hove is absolutely incredible. It's star-studded, top 4 Ben Dogs, top stayers. We've got the £10,000 Coral Sussex Cup and the £20,000 Premier Greyhound Racing Regency. All the action will be live on Sky Sports Racing behind the red button. And we are going to get stuck straight into it. We're going to go to Thursday night to start with, Tony. We're going to look at the Angel of the North Oaks and a big competition, right? You get the Brighton Belt, the Oaks, and probably this competition, the Empress Stakes as well at Toaster. And that is it, really. So a good field is going to be assembled here.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing, where Newcastle's quite further afield, you tend to get a few more select raiders rather than them pooling all together and meeting and a lot of these bitches races. But local knowledge of this will always count for something, Dave. But I mean, Kevin Hutton always gives Newcastle plenty of respect, and he does well with his raiders. So I think keep an eye on some of his runners.
Right, let's have a look at the market then for the £7,500 Arc Angel of the North Oaks. Bitches only here. 7-2 the field. Cullivan Mercy is our favourite. She was a finalist in the Romford Puppy Cup last year, finalist in the English Puppy Derby. She's come back to action after a little spell on the sidelines in good form. She's been running well both in success and defeat. 7-1 Untold Ruble, who recently won the Arc Puppy Cup at Sunderland. Jetstream Angel, who of course the bitch was awarded the Oaks following the disqualification of No Rush at Perry Bar. Leah's Dream, Copicella, Tremora Supreme, and that is 12-1 Bar. I will kick us off. I'm going to take this jolly on, Tony. Cullivan Mercy got beaten at Trial Stake recently. She's very good, but I think she's very short as well at 7-2. I quite like Leah's Dream here. Now, I think there's 6 wides in this competition, and I've had a good little look through the heats. And I don't think there's going to be many left come the semi-final. So due to the equal distribution of seeding in the trap draws, I think she'll do the business. Barry Denby's Nottingham Raider. She's got a great record just on her travels and on home soil. I think she'll have a good draw. And she moved quite well in her trial. More to come from her because, as I'm sure you're going to mention, Newcastle is quite a fiddly track. That first bend is very, very tight. A lot tighter than it looks on the screen. If you've never been there, you'd be amazed how tight that first bend is. So she's got leading claims for me. Leah's Dream around the outside. I think you can back her each way as big as 8-1 with Ladbrokes. Over the first firm out the traps with the prices this week. Who'd you like?
Yeah, there's a lot of early pace. I mean, if you look at the top end of the market, Cullivan Mercy, she likes the front off. Untold Ruble, she likes the front off. Jetstream Angel, she likes the front off. Your selection, Leah's Dream, she's got a bit of all-round pace. And comes into this event fresh. But the bitch I like is Copy Seller. Now, I know she's not a prolific winner, but she's a qualifier, and she showed that she runs the track when finishing third to Clona Curley in the Northern Puppy Derby, I think back in February now. I like the draw that she's got in Heat 5. I think she ran really well in the tough races at Toaster, Romeo Command. This is a more manageable level that she returns to in an all bitches event. And I think she can get to the final and then everything to play for, depending on how the draw works out with the early pace runners.
Now, traditionally, the local dogs have been very, very strong. And we've gone for 2 away dogs there. Is that a foolish move?
Not necessarily. I think we've sort of both looked at it in the same light, Dave. There's a lot of early pace in the race, and something has to give at Newcastle. It's fiddly. And the beauty of a strong runner, you don't need to get it right at the cans. You can come through in the second half.
Yeah, that is the Angel of the North. And as I mentioned, a brilliant night of action at Newcastle on Thursday night, because half of the field will be Angel of the North Oaks first round heats, and the other half will be first round heats of the £12,500 Time Northern Flat. It was won last year by Jimmy Fenwick's Brookside Ritchie, and Jimmy Fenwick will send out the ante-post favourite here, and a red hot favourite as well, clear of rivals. Again, Ladbrokes first out the boxes, he was 5-2, but we'll get to the prices first. Let's have a look why Wiki Ned is as short a price as he is. Now we're going to go back to Sheffield earlier on this year. I think it was back in April, the Bresbet Gimcrack final. Now, it wasn't a vintage Gimcrack, but he absolutely pulverised rivals here. 28.51 out of Trap 2. Droopy's Extra Good was the runner-up in Trap 1. No Better Feeling was third in Trap 3. And I mentioned it wasn't vintage, but the form seems to be getting better and better the more the dogs that were in the Gimcrack reappear.
Yeah, there was a lot of noise being made about Wiki Ned before he ever set foot on the track, Dave, and it's all right making noise before you set foot on the track, but Wiki Ned made noise on the track, and all right, it might not have been a vintage Gimcrack, but you can only beat what's put in front of you, and boy, did Jimmy Fenwick's dog do it in some style, and he's shown that he's manned up as a dog. He obviously made that early exit from the Derby, but won that event on Derby final night in good style, so he is a worthy ante-post favourite for me.
Yeah, Jimmy holds him in the highest regard. He puts him up there with Ice on Fire. He was an absolute champion himself. And I'll never forget the interesting story he was telling me about when they did the deal to buy this dog. The dog's done the business, I think it was on a Friday night. Saturday morning, Jimmy's on the phone, getting the job done, getting the deal done. Neil McGregor, of course, owned Belmore Sally. So Neil, a keen eye, always has a good dog to his name. They've done the deal. And 16 different people have tried to ring up the trainer, the owner and the breeder that day trying to buy Wiki Ned. And they've said, look, sorry, but Neil and Jimmy have already bought him. And he looks the real deal. He's, as I mentioned, he's 5-2. Let's have a look at the market. He's 5-2 ante-post favourite. And then we've got 10-1 Johnny Whiskers, last year's classic winner. Greenwell, a vet, a kennel mate of Wiki Ned, who's very well regarded. Skywalker Pele, who's classy, versatile. Ted Soppit, very strong over the 480. Bogger Rambo, Tony's mate, who's done us a load of favours here on Off the Leash. That one's at 12s. And Antigua Eagle at 12s as well, 16 bar. What do you make of Wiki Ned first before we get onto the price? He had to be favourite, didn't he?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, he ain't got a gimme in the opening heat because he's in with the Johnny Whiskers dog, who's a decent sort in his own right. He won well in a prep race last weekend. I'm going to look further afield though, Dave. I mean, if Wiki Ned gets it right at the boxes in heat, semi and final, he'll probably be crowned Northern Flat champion. But I'm going to take a chance. There was a dog that I liked during the British bred maiden derby, Romeo Jackson. He's a clumsy dog, and I just think that connections have started to tinker with his seeding. And I like the fact that they've put a middle on him, and he's out in trap 5 in heat 5. Now, obviously, Bogger Rambo's in that heat, the kennel mate, but he didn't really show much on his reappearance. And this Romeo Jackson dog, he's got good pace, very, very good pace when given racing room and seeing daylight. And I'm going to take a chance at the prices that Romeo Jackson can sneak into the final. And again, all to play for if doing that. Yeah,
big price, Romeo Jackson. You can back him each way. I am a believer. I've got full faith in Wiki Ned. I think this dog is an aeroplane. I think he's the fastest dog in the competition to the third turn. I think he's the fastest dog in the competition to the first turn. And I think he'll just make all. And as long as he does it right at the boxes, which, goes without saying in every race, really. But I just think he's got the zip to the corner. He'll find bundles on his 480 trial. He's been to Newcastle before. His first bit of work in the UK was a sensational sprint over the 290. But to me, it is a speed track. And I just want to get off the front here. And I think he's going to take some lead. And I think he'll take some beating. I think there's a little bit of 11-4 out there. Might squeeze a bit of 3-1 somewhere, a little bit closer to the off. But he's generally 5-2 chance at the moment. And yeah, I'm a believer. So all aboard Wiki Ned. I think the Jolly will do the business in the Northern Flat on Thursday. Not first round heats on Thursday. And then, of course, semi-finals next Thursday. And the final 2 weeks on Thursday as well. There your Thursdays sorted. Now we're going to sort your Saturdays out for you because I mentioned the star-studded card at home. Very similar to Newcastle. 6 first-round heats and 6 first-round heats. 2 massive competitions getting underway. The £20,000 Premier Greyhound Racing Regency over 695 metres. All the best stayers are on show. And the £10,000 Coral Sussex Cup. All the top 4 Ben dogs are on show. So settle in on Saturday night. It's going to be a belter. And we're going to start with the Regency. £20,000 up for grabs. Tony, we're going to start with Hacker Carlo. Now with Jason Heath. Back on track. Obviously won the Mark Siddle Memorial Derby final night at Toaster. And this was quite a decent effort as well on Saturday night, just gone last weekend in a trial stake, 42.04. Thought the runner-up run well here as well, Magical Luna.
Yeah, it did indeed. The runner-up did run really well because Hacker Carlo did front off. And he's a dog that's got nice middle pace for a stayer as Hacker Carlo. I expect him to get the job done in this race. But this is an interesting heat because you've got that Burrow Sapphire in the lineup, and that Burrow Sapphire's got a little bit of chasing pace and could make things interesting in the early stages. Our Smasher, we know she's more of a stamina-laden marathon type. No match for Hacker Carlo on this occasion, but yeah, I think Jason Heath's charge. He's back in the groove, and I expect him to. If he's going to be winning the competition, he should be kicking off your campaign with a win in this heat.
Yeah. We've mentioned it on the show before, but an incredible litter that he comes from as well. You've got Hacker Carlo, Garfinny Blaze, who won the Cesarewitch. You've got Ballymac Taylor, who's also in this event. Ballymac Katie as well, who's now in the UK. Absolutely phenomenal. This dog starts and stays. And yeah, if he keeps trapping and going around leading or in a pitch, he has to be a big player. So that's Hacker Carlo, another one who's going to be a big player and has already landed a £20,000 Premier Greyhound Racing Premier Greyhound Racing event this year. Is the Golden Jacket champion, Dazzle Rolex for Ricky Holloway. And we're going to have a look at what he did down at Crayford back in February. He was in track 5 here, 45.03. Havana top note in 4. Ballymac Taylor in 2. Now, this greyhound has been campaigned very, very lightly, Tony, and this has always been on the agenda, this Regency. Ricky Holloway's kept him lightly raced. He's been ticking over down at Crayford, and here he is now, and he can really run, and he's another one who starts and stays.
Yeah, he's strong. The thing is, he's been ticking over, but he's been ticking over on home soil. I'm hoping that the away trip will work wonders. He moved okay in the trial. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary, but a look round Hove is better than no look round, and I think he'll look after himself out wide. And again, I thought he was probably the answer to this heat, but you've got the Ballymac Taylor, who absolutely ran riot in the Durando Marathon. She can cope well with a drop back to 6 bends because Hove is attesting 695 metres. And keep an eye on Magical Luna. She's been running well in the face of some stiff tasks on her travels, and again, that was her first look round last week. So this is a real tricky heat.
Yeah, that will look forward to that on Saturday. That is Dazzle Rolex, another one of the big guns. They're wide seed as well and does tend to track quite wide, but very, very big camber at Hove, and it tends to keep them in at the bends, even if they like to drift wide. So it'd be interesting to see how Dazzle Rolex goes. Then expect, as Tony mentioned, that one to improve plenty on the trial. Right, the last one we'll have a look at of the big guns is the 3 Steps to Victory champion, Queen Georgia. Now, she was turned over on Derby final night at Toaster, picked up late on by Hacker Carlo. She won a trial stake since then, but we are going to look at her 3 steps to victory success because she's already got a big title to her name. This was over the 660. As she showed at Toaster, Tony, over the 712 metres, this 695 is definitely going to be as far as she wants to go.
Yeah, the worry with her, I mean, obviously when she won the 3 steps to victory final at Sheffield, she was untested over 6 bends, but she showed that she's made a smooth transition to the 6 bend scene with a decisive win in that event, and has since gone on to, I thought she saw it out really well at Toaster, the 712. The problem with Hove, it is a bit of a different beast, and it's going to probably sound stupid what I'm going to say, but if Connections, Liz and Radbrook there could whisper in her ear, don't set some fast fractions in the early stages, save a bit, conserve a bit of energy. That's the only concern with Queen Georgia, because she is so quick. She's so capable of putting up a fast sprint, a fast halfway clock in. You can't always burn the candle at both ends, but at the moment she is. And in her current mood, she's the one to beat. Savannah Heros was a finalist last year, but I watched his race at Sheffield on Sunday. I couldn't believe it was Savannah Heros that was put in the boxes. 6-1 on, never took part.
And on Queen Georgia, is that something that the more she'll run over testing trips, the stronger she'll get? Or, you know, will it just be a case of, look, if she ain't off the front, it's game over?
Well, I think she needs to be winning the sprint legs. I mean, depending on what type of race she's in with, don't get me wrong, she could miss it, turn third and show superior middle. But at the top end, as she showed at Toaster, she fronted off and got pegged back. So at this high level, when you've got like your Ballymac Taylors and that in pursuit, there ain't no hiding place, particularly at Hove, Dave, as you well know.
Yeah, as I mentioned, the camber, the sweeping bends, the grounds are flat out all the way round. Like the 695 metres, it's a very short run to the turn. They'll run the first and second bend hard, and then you've got a lap to go, and they'll be running that hard throughout. So there is no tight turns to maybe get a breather, conserve a little bit of energy. The dogs are just flat out throughout, which is why I will always lean towards stamina in the Regency. 695 metres, won last year by Space Jet, of course, an absolute champion over marathon distances. And it'll be interesting to see how this one unfolds. Now, but have a look at the market. Queen Georgia and Kunoff Crow head the market with Corals at 5-1. They've got Ballymac Taylor at 11-2, Dazzle Rolex at 7, Hacker Carlo 8, Lively Lauren 14, Savannah Heros at 14, and it is 16 bar. Now, mention stamina. I'm all about stamina in this. And the Durando winner, Ballymac Taylor, runner-up in the TV Trophy. Mark Wallace got a good record in the event as well. I'm going to go with Ballymac Taylor. We don't need to win the heat. We don't need to win the semi-final, but the final will be red hot. And I always want to just lean towards stamina, and nothing will be coming home stronger than Ballymac Taylor throughout this Regency. So she gets my vote, 11-2, 6-1. That will do for me. I think you can maybe even have a little bit of an each-way play there. Looks like an each-way bet to nothing to me. I think it should be very, very hard to keep out the frame. But we're trying to win this event. So at 11-2, 6-1, I'm going with Ballymac Taylor to win. Who'd you like, Tony?
Yeah, I'm going to go for a bit of a curveball. Cooler Derry Dust. The dog's got plenty of pace. Give him a solo trial. He can put up as fast a time as any in the competition. He showed that when winning the semi-final of the Coronation Cup at Romford. I thought he ran okay at Hove. I was interested in him stepping up to a stiffer 6 bends, and I thought he ran okay because the Barntick Bear dog got off the front and looked something special himself. He moved okay in the trial over the 515 metres, and I thought he could be the one to sort of, it wouldn't be a surprise to think, who's this that's just bolted up? And then you look down and you think, oh, Cooler Derry Dust. Well, yeah, he can run, and he might be able to show that in this Regency.
Yeah, very interesting runner is Cooler Derry Dust, and a good bunch of lads behind that one as well. So we wish them well. Just needs a little bit of daylight. It can sometimes, I think, be a little bit clumsy, but maybe Hove will be the making of him, because it is certainly wide open spaces, long gallop in straights, and that will suit Cooler Derry Dust. Right, that is the Regency, £20,000 up for grabs there. Now let's move on to the £10,000 Coral Sussex Cup, which I think is an absolute belter. It's the best of all 4 competitions kicking off this week in my eyes. And we can start only one place, the St Ledger champion, a ground with already an impressive CV. Now, we discussed last week, Tony, didn't we? Droopy's Clue. Is he actually going to go for the Sussex Cup? Is this a stepping stone to the Regency when he's in the Sussex Cup? Let's have a look at him doing the business in his trial stake last week. Now, we'll pick it up at the second turn. King Sydney took a tumble. He's absolutely fine, according to Liz and Rad McNair. So all is well there, thankfully. But we'll take it up at the second turn. And this dog, I can only describe him as relentless because he just keeps going. The all-round pace is incredible.
He's a monster of a dog, isn't he? I mean, make no mistake. I mean, when he won the juvenile classic at Toaster last year, he reeled in righty on the line, and he's developed over 6 and 4 bends. And he suffered a setback. He equalled the track record when prepping for the Derby, but he's returned in tremendous shape. This isn't a necessarily a straightforward assignment. New Destiny, I mean, she broke the track record in the Coronation Cup. But I just think Droopy's Clue gets first run on the inside, and as good as New Destiny is, surely nothing backruns Droopy's Clue.
Yeah, that'd be in the heat, of course. He is the outright favourite, though, and we'll get onto the prices very shortly. What a story it would be if Candlin Monsoon was to defend his Sussex Cup title 12 months ago. Did the business in what was a belter of a final. Droopy's Google finished second. From post to pillar was back in third in trap 5, and there were some very classy greyhounds in behind those as well. Now, this dog then stepped up to 6 bends. He looked to force, and then he broke a shoulder. He's been nursed back by Derek Knight and his team. He was off the track for 8 months, and he's come back, absolutely flying. This was his performance in the final, 29.62. Another one who starts and stays, another one who's classy. The man at the end of the league is classy as well, Derek Knight, and it would just be incredible, wouldn't it, if he was to come back and go all the way?
Yeah, well, it was a magnificent training performance from Derek Knight last year, because coming into the Sussex Cup, Candlin Monsoon wasn't exactly firing on all cylinders, but Derek Knight got the best out of him when it mattered most, and he really excelled in the Sussex Cup. As you say, he suffered a serious setback October last year at Romford, but connections must have been copper hoop. I mean, I know he was 4-9 on to win, but it was the manner of the win. I know he loses the red vest here, but he's since backed that up with another sub 30-second trial for the 5:15. And I think he shows that he's not going to relinquish the title without a battle. Gary the Arb ran an absolute stormer at Toaster. He's a dog that's brought a little bit of consistency to his game, but despite the draw being far from ideal, I think the pace that he's shown Candlin Monsoon, he can tack across, get to the front and stay there.
Well, that'd be his first round heat, of course. Right, let's have a look at the outright market then. The Coral Sussex Cup, £10,000 to the winner, 515 metres. I think the best 4-bend trip in the country. 4-1, Droopy's Clue with the sponsors. 5's is Candlin Monsoon. 6 is Romeo Command. 13-2, New Destiny. What a lineup, stars everywhere. 14-1, Antigua Falky, interesting one, also formerly known as Optic Chico. And one for the locals as well is going to be a big play. And one that you mentioned last week, Tony, Never Say No, also at 14s. That is 16 bar. Who'd you like?
It's a tremendous, absolutely tremendous competition. And you want a competition dog. And Romeo Command is the ultimate competition dog. I know he made an early exit from the Derby, but that was just a little bit of a blip. He came into the Derby a little bit undercooked, but he showed what might have been when absolutely destroying the opposition, posting as good at times as we've seen through the Derby. Hove should be tailor-made for Romeo Command. He's a dog that's got all-round pace. If he can avoid Miami Bullet on the inside in the opening heat, I think he can show that he's a massive contender. So Romeo Command for me.
Yeah, I think we can forgive him his early elimination in the Derby, given the fact he finished runner-up the year before. But yeah, just emphasises sort of how classy and durable he is. So he will be a big player. No two ways about that. I thought this was really tough, actually. And a ground who didn't exactly set the world alight in his trial stake last week. But a ground I think's fared well in the first round draw. I think he's going to be very hard to keep out the frame. And he is a quirky soul who I think is capable of competing and catching anything in this field. And that is, of course, King Coombs, who's a big price. I think he's as big as 18-20-1. He's going to be an each-way play for me because, as I mentioned, I think he's in one of the softer first-round heats. So I think he'll be into the semis. Liz and Rad get some work into him, get some magic into him, get some sparkle back. And with a clear run, I think this dog's as fast as anything in this competition, maybe barring Droopy's Clue. I'm not sure he'd fetch in Droopy's Clue should he get off the front. But yeah, I just thought it was a spot of value. So King Coombs for me each way, Romeo Command for Tony. Thursday night, 2 big competitions kicking off. Saturday night, 2 big competitions kicking off. This week is absolutely brilliant. That is the outright markets covered here on Off the Leash. Now, it's the most important part of the show, and it is the best bets time. Now, you went for a double last week, Tony. It didn't work out for you. Are you keeping it real simple, going back to basics, going to the tried and tested winning formula that we've seen throughout the 23 episodes so far, and just going for a single?
Yeah, going with single. There's so much on there. It's a brilliant racing sport for choice, really. But I'm going to go to the Sussex Cup, Heat 4, Wasted Monday in Trap 6 with Belinda Green. Finalist last year. I think this race is a pick-em between Our Mystery in 3 and Wasted Monday in Trap 6. There's no real pace. Joe Cigar's in 5, lacks a yard of early. The Kalara Show Dog does lack a yard of early, but he comes out okay, and he's been moving off. And I just thought if 2 and 3 come together, Wasted Monday will be away and gone out wide. He comes into the event fresh, and when he gets off the front, he's very, very difficult to beat. So I thought Wasted Monday in Heat 4 had a great make-up.
Good stuff. Right, I'm going to go to Hove on Saturday night as well, and I'm going to go with Matt Dartnell's Regency 3rd last year, Lively Lauren. Now, she set the pace in that final, and then it was Space Jet that came through to score. Now, she's been off the car. I think she's been in season. She's back. Decent effort at Oxford last time out. No shame in being fetched in by All Right Goldie, who's a very strong one in Saul. But the race is full of early speed. She's got the inside line into the turn. It's not a massive run to the corner, the 695. If she can start, she'll show her class to the bend. And then I think she'll get off the front and have front runners in behind her as well, such as Baywatch Bullet. So that is definitely a race. I think if you find the leader, you're going to find the winner. And I love the draw for Lively Lauren. She's got good form out of 1 and 2 at Hove. I mentioned she got to the final last year, and I think she'll improve as well. They're nobody's fools, the Dartnells, and she'll come forward with every outing. So she's going to be my best bet of the week on Saturday night at Hove in the 6:59. Lively Lauren. Whew. Right, take a breather and brace yourself for Thursday night. The action is fantastic this week. Chuck in the semi-finals of the Ladbrokes Champion Hurdle on Sunday night as well, alongside England, of course, bringing it home. This has been Off the Leash, brought to you by the Racing Post in association with Premier Greyhound Racing. Do enjoy the action. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.